A new report has recently come out to say that 100,000 new tracks are released every single day. Now, to put that into perspective, that means if you started to listen to the last 24 hours of released music, it would take you 9 months to get to the end. And by the time you have listened to all of the tracks released in the last 24 hours, another 27 million tracks would have been released. So that begs the question, how can you possibly cut through the noise when 100,000 tracks are being released every single day? Well, stick around to the end and we'll go through what you can start to do today to make the difference. Recently, we have seen a significant rise in shock marketing. Andrew Tate in September 2020 was the second most Googled man on the face of the planet. And who was he beaten by? Donald Trump.
Wrong.
Someone who is no stranger to shock marketing. And now many more Andrew Tate wannabes have popped up. People that just want to shock and get to the head of the queue. People like James Smith PT on TikTok, who I see all of the time. Now some might say it's banter. Many would say it's bullying. I'll just say, well, he's a bellend. But this is nothing new. In the 1950s, Elvis was almost cancelled for being vulgar with his dance moves. In the 1970s, you had the Sex Pistols, you had the Ramones. In the 1990s, you had my personal favourite, Rage Against the Machine. And in the 2000s, you've also got Kanye. Now, the problem is not these public figures or these artists. It's us. It's you and me. We all love the drama. We all love the wow moments. Let's look at someone like Gary Vee. Now, 5 years ago, Gary Vee blew up with all of his social media content. Now, we're all aware that Gary Vee makes more social media content than everyone else on the planet combined. But he really struggles to get traction on most of his content. He's very much in the quantity versus quality. He's just going to throw as much stuff out there as possible with the 30 or 40 people who full-time work for him churning out this content. And why doesn't it get the traction that it once did? And why does it get a minuscule amount of traction compared to someone like Andrew Tate? Well, it's because of his message. His message is about perspective. You want to be happy? Don't you want to be happy? No, Gary, I don't want to be happy. I want a fucking Lambo. And this isn't just music, and this isn't just YouTube. If you look at Netflix, the biggest hit series forever on Netflix is Dahmer, a program about the ultimate serial killer. And whilst we all have our preferences when we watch Netflix stuff, we've all seen Don't Fuck With Cats. We've all seen The Tinder Swindler. We've all seen Abducted in Plain Sight. Now, even for me, when I'm making content, I'm in the same boat. I have to think of things which are going to trigger you to watch a video, which means thumbnail and title becomes all important, which means my thumbnail looks like this usually. And the reality is I'm not really that surprised. There's 100,000 tracks released every single day. Yeah, well, there's nearly 8 billion people on the planet and releasing music is really fun. Are you that surprised? No. But if I don't have that face in the thumbnail, then less people are going to click in. So what does this mean for you releasing music and you cutting through the noise? Well, there's 5 tips. And number 1 is not being average. All of the people and the artists that we just talked about, they are anything but average. You might say they're divisive. You might say people love them, people hate them, a bit like Marmite. But many people don't not care. They care. They just care because they hate that person or they care because they love that person. They care and they want to tell the world about it. And unfortunately, that's how we get attention. Nobody is getting attention from being boring. Nobody is getting attention for being average. This is a competition to get eyes on the prize. And there's a lot of people playing the game. Number 2, it's not what you say. It's the way that you say it. It's the way that you phrase it. It's the way that you explain something. So for someone like Andrew Tate, for example, a lot of people will say, no, I can see what he's getting at. Yeah, you can see what he's getting at. The problem is the way he's phrased it, the way he's explained it, makes you go, I think I just threw up in my own mouth. But of course he's doing that on purpose because he knows if he phrases it in a certain way, he's explaining something that will now get 1 million or 10 million views. It's not what he's saying. It's the way he's saying it.
Guys, quick interruption. You're clearly releasing music and serious about getting results. So have you checked out DK Music Business Academy? It's got over 50 hours worth of courses, including the Roadmap to 1 Million Streams course. On top of that, you've got live sessions with me every single week and a community of like-minded musicians from all over the world. And as well as that, there's even my playlisting tool, Sonar, where you can get in touch with playlist curators when you're releasing music. What have you got to lose? 7-day free trial, links in the description. Let's crack on with the video.
Number 3, and I think this one's really important. You're not making content to be viewed. You're making content to be shared. Now, If you think about that, if you're making content that someone says, I have to show this to my friend, or I have to add this to my page, I have to add this to something because I want other people to have seen it and I want them to have seen it knowing it's come from me. That is social currency. If you're making content that you're thinking that's going to get shared, then all of a sudden, you're going to multiply the number of people who are going to see your content. Number 4, it needs to hit hard and it needs to hit fast. Far too many people are saying, right, watch this. In a minute, I'm going to do something amazing. We've gone. We've left. That's it. You've had your chance. You fucked it. Now, it's all about that 1 second. If I don't get all of the information and the context in the first second, you're fucked. I've gone. And number 5, understand your tribe, understand your audience, understand who you're trying to get in front of, understand the way that you talk to them, understand what they will relate to and what they will connect with. Again, going back to the Andrew Tate thing, who does he talk to? Well, mostly disillusioned young men, hence the Lambos and the guns and the girls and the money. The thing with trying to get your message in front of someone, especially now when so many people are trying to do it, it means in order to cut through the noise, you have to have a very sharp knife, or you have to be very, very loud. And let's face it, most of the big companies are very loud because they've got a lot of money. So if you don't have a lot of money to cut through the noise, you have to have a very loud message. You have to be different. You have to be an outlier. You can't be in the middle and say, I'm just like everybody else. I'll see if I can shout louder. No, no, no. I have to be different. I have to be interesting. I have to represent a tribe and they have to see me as a leader within that tribe. And that means music, it means fashion, it means what you say, it means the content you create, it means the colors, it means your brand, it means everything that people will relate to. Look, here's the deal. The good news is you are completely in control, more than anyone has ever had in the history of making music and releasing music in the past. The bad news is so is everybody else. Hence now 100,000 people can release tracks every single day. And the biggest problem is there's too many dickheads on social media saying consistency. It's all about consistency. Consistency, consistency, consistency. No, it isn't. There's 100,000 people being consistent. No fucker cares. It's about being memorable. Memorable is different to consistency. You can be consistent and shit. And if you're consistent and shit, you're consistently shit. But if you're memorable, then at least people are going to go, oh, I know you, I remember you, you're not boring. Now, being memorable means you don't have to make as much content. If you think about OK Go, they'll make one video every couple of years, but wow, what a video. And that is memorable, and it is going to do the rounds all around the world, keeping them relevant. They don't have to make content every single day. Why? Because they're memorable. So guys, the weird thing about this is I feel the same as you. I don't want to make these sorts of thumbnails. I don't want to have clickbaity titles. I want to be able to give you information that I think is relevant and important. But I have to play the game, and so do you. But the good thing is, if you do play the game, that's when the world opens up. So it is the dark side of marketing, but it's psychology. And it isn't these marketers. It isn't these brands. It isn't these artists or these creators. It's us. We love the drama. We love the wow moment. So while your job is not to necessarily be shocking, it is to be memorable. And on that note, go fuck yourself.